Hi everyone, it is now 7 p.m. and I'm Daryl Creary. Oh, it looks like we have Mr. Cyril muted.
I'm here now.
We have with us Delana Johnson, and a warm welcome to all of you to this week's edition of Community Conversation. Tonight's show marks our 57th show, and it is with a sad heart that I report the passing of a very good friend of QOP Mentoring Network, longtime librarian Dr. Henrietta Smith. Doctor Smith, who made her career as a library science professor and a school librarian, passed away recently at the age of 98 while in hospice care. She made history in 1985 when she became the first African American faculty member at the University of South Florida at the School of Library Science. Dr. Smith, who lived across from Pompey Park in Delray Beach, was instrumental in establishing the Ashley Bryan Art Series at the African American Research Library and Cultural Center of the Broward County Library. An advocate for Black children reading about themselves in books, she was responsible for bringing Black artists, including Ashley Bryan, to the Delray Beach Library for lectures. May her soul rest in peace, and we thank you, Miss Bryan, for your contributions to society. So with Mr. Ciron here, sir, are we ready for that puppy report? How are Jack and Charlie doing?
We're always ready. But, what can I say? What a week it has been with these rascals, Daryl. Sure has been. I know you listeners out there, viewers must be wondering, do I ever have any good news to report about these dogs? Yes, well, I tell you what, I want you to have a first-hand experience with them. Okay? So how about come on down to the Chihuahua race tomorrow and you will meet them up close and personal. You can decide what's you can decide whether what I've been telling you about them over the last couple of weeks or months, you can decide. Give a quick shout out to see Lieutenant Morrison is on, Oscar and Brianna. Hey, the Leons are on. Folks are joining us from all over. Greetings, greetings, greetings.
No, perfect march again for that, sir, if I may say. Speaking of the Chihuahua race, the Kentucky Derby will be tomorrow, and so will be the Chihuahua race. The highly promoted race featuring Charlie and Jack will begin at 2 p.m. and will go through to 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And it will be at the Spady Museum at 115 Northwest 5th Avenue. Come on down with your dogs, whether you have a Chihuahua or not. There will be lots of treats, prizes, and surprises regardless. Contact 561-665-0151 or visit KOP Mentor Network's Facebook page for more information. Prizes will be awarded to the king and queen of the race and the best dressed dog. So get your pup prepared.
Yes, yes, yes. Let me just say I had a chance to swing by this afternoon and watched as they were preparing for the race. I think yeah, I saw a picture there. And these guys are just so professional, so tedious. I mean, they had their T square. They were leveling the corners, make sure everything was straight, make sure the lines were straight. Just so meticulous in doing this. So I think we're all going to have a good time tomorrow. Regardless, I heard that we're supposed to be having good weather. So I don't know about you, Daryl. I'm looking forward to this.
Same here.
Yep. Well, our youth have been busy collecting supplies and packing boxes for their peers in St. Vincent, whose lives have been upended by the volcanic um, eruptions on the Caribbean island of St. Vincent. To tell us more is our very own Miss Denia Strawn.
St. Vincent may be 1,525 miles from us, but students in Derry Beach are making sure their peers there have supplies for school. The students from KLP Mentoring Network and Malago Center spent Saturday morning packing boxes at the Aloha Cleaners office on West Avenue. The dry cleaners also donated boxes of clothing for the cause. They plan to do another drive next Saturday at the Chihuahua race. Reporting from KOP News, I am Denai Strong.
Hello, Miss
Thank
Denaya Strawn. The students are also collecting supplies at the Amazon Hub at 400 West Atlantic Avenue for another 2 or so weeks. You can find a listing of needed supplies on the KOP Facebook page. Just handed this here. Again, the items they are looking for include things like toilet paper, washing detergent, dish soap, sheets, blankets, baby formula, cots, water, sanitary napkins, face masks, hand sanitizers, diapers, water, soap, baby white, toothbrushes, and toothpaste. Way to go. So I see Miss Janaya is joining us online as well as Miss Denaya, so I can't speak to them. But either way, Janaya, I know you can type this in. Do you have everything you need for your project? Okay, she'll be collecting more stuff at the Amazon store for another 2 weeks. Okay. Okay, is many of you out there know that as a mentoring program, KOP teaches young people how to conduct themselves in public and when confronted by law enforcement personnel and authority. Well, we help provide homework assistance, we pay for tutoring in many cases, and we sponsor sessions to provide preparation tips for taking college exams. Yes, entrance exams. And most definitely, yes, we also help them with applying for colleges. Now, one of our young ladies is heading up to the nation's capital to study at Howard University, and many of us say that's the capstone of Negro education or colored education or African American education, depending on what area you're from. But we have some bisons with us to help her in her transition. I know Queen Mikey, are you here with us? She is at a recital at school, but that's all right. We have with us the Thomases ladies.
Hello, hello.
Hello, how are
Hello.
you?
Doing well. How are you?
Another great evening in South Florida. We have Miss Alana Thomas and Miss Brianna Thomas from the Thomas clan. Interesting thing about these family, that family has spent a lot of money, invested a lot of money in Howard University.
Definitely.
Daddy, son, and both daughters. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good,
It's
good.
final season currently, so
Where are you now?
it's final season.
Oh,
So,
oh,
yep, final exams.
it is. So this is your last year, and what are your plans after, you know, walking across the stage?
Actually, I'm in my junior year. I will be
Oh,
going
okay.
into my senior year in the fall. So the plan for the future is to attend law school.
Mm-hmm. And your brother got his PhD. Am I correct? Is a PhD? He's a doctor now, right?
He's a dentist, a
He's a
doctor of
dentist.
dental surgery.
Okay, okay, that's good.
Hmm.
And what about you, Miss Alana? What are you
I am
doing?
currently majoring in communications. I will be, yes, majoring in communications, school of communications, my ride or die school. Um, and I will be, yep, hopefully attending law school in fall of 2022 to pursue juvenile justice and family law.
Okay, Daryl will be heading out to is it Vanderbilt, Daryl?
The University of Miami.
University of Miami in a few months in the fall, and he wants to pursue a career in broadcasting. You are in that school right now, and talk to me a little. Are you learning anything that you think is going to help you later on in life?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it wouldn't be the illustrious Howard University if I was
Here you go.
learning from
Let me see. You sound so much like we have a school board member down here. Name is Dr. Deborah Robinson. You sound so much
yes,
like
Miss
her. Man,
Robinson.
you're always pushing Howard this. Between you guys and those folks who went to the other school up in Tallahassee, what's it called? The agricultural school out on NCCU. Okay, tell him, John. Uh, so help me now. School of Communication. What is that like? Do they teach you all how to do broadcast?
So my school is split into three different main concentrations or majors. My major specifically is strategic, legal, and management communications. Holistically, my major is somewhat in which we delve into PR, human resources, legal, the legal field. It's a very well-rounded major, especially
Okay.
if you want to touch on the legal field or go into politics. And then the school is also separated into the medium journalism and film department, that's where you get into more of your broadcast journalism majors, your PR majors, and then we also have an audio engineering, audio communications program within our school because we do have our own radio station attached to school communications.
W8 was it WHSU? What's your radio
Hmm.
station? I know TOP,
WHUR.
TOP,
Yeah,
HUR, WHUR, right? HUR,
Mhm.
and TOP is your
our
TV station.
television channel,
Yeah.
yes.
And the Hilltop, is the Hilltop still there?
Of course, long standing. We moved into the digital realm instead of
Yeah.
they still print physical copies of the newspaper. They usually set them in the dorms, but yes, the Hilltop is very much still standing.
Okay. Daryl has an interest in pursuing a political degree or political career. Am I correct, Daryl?
Yes, sir. Political science
Okay.
final.
Physical science minor. Very sharp young man. Now, Brianna, what about you? What are you doing?
Well, I graduated from Howard
Mm-hmm.
in 2016. And my degree is in finance. So
Okay.
the School of Business at Howard. Right now, I am a design manager at a tech company called Zendesk that's based in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're out there making money now, huh?
Yep, I went straight for the money.
I'm getting a few questions from a few of my students here, and one of them is, what can one expect the experience of college life to be coming from a small town, from a small school like Atlantic High School? What can we expect going from that small environment to, say, Howard University? How do you prepare for that?
So I'll actually start with that one. I came from Santa Lucia's, and I believe my school is kind of more on the smaller end in Atlantic, at least Atlantic. Majority of the population are either, African American students or Black students, or more of the minority base rather than what I experienced at Santa Lucia's. And you might even have teachers who went to HBCUs at Atlantic more than what I definitely had at Santa Lucia's.
Right.
But honestly, any HBCU, not just speaking of Howard, it's a welcoming environment. You won't get lost in the sauce. It might seem overwhelming at first, but there's always someone there to welcome you or guide you. And, it always starts within your own school or even within your own dorm room, your dorm building. That's where those first relationships start. And the best advice I would say is don't be afraid to take those risks and just, to step out and meet new people, because there's always something going on campus, especially in HBCU.
Now, Lana, how much time do students typically spend on homework?
Depends on your major. My sister can speak to that, being in the School of Business, probably always in some books, doing some type of homework. School of Communications, I would say I have a pretty fair amount of homework. I am on the writing ends of homework rather than say a bio major in which they spend more time in labs. There's honestly no set answer, to be quite honest.
And I have one here. Will I be required to do any reading or writing? And okay, how much reading or writing will they be required to do? Because I'm
A
sure
lot.
you're going to have to read and write in college.
A lot. It doesn't matter what your major is, a lot of reading and a lot of writing. You know, the textbooks that you experience right now, we have textbooks at the collegiate level, so it doesn't really go away.
Right.
Yeah, and then honestly, never stop reading. Like in college, they always tell you to elevate your mind, because once you start getting into those collegiate conversations and speaking with professors and adults on a higher level, you have to, up your vocabulary, up your your critical thinking skills. It's very important to keep up with your reading, especially on a collegiate level.
Brianna, you're in the workforce now. Alana just said you got to up your vocabulary.
Mhm.
Break that down for me, please. How important is that in the working field?
I mean, effective communication is critical, not only in the workforce, but just in all relationships that you have in life, right? But being able to articulate yourself very well, show up the way you want your personal brand to be when you're in a room or outside of a room is critical to being successful in any career field, but definitely business. We talk all day, every day. I'm on Zoom calls like all the time.
Hmm.
So majority of my time spent is having one-on-one conversations with people where, I have to show up and be present and clearly articulate myself and know what I'm talking about. So
Daryl, do you have any questions for them?
I think my biggest question is like going through the high school scene, there was always a bad rap with Howard as a university, which always confused me since it was always from Black students. So,
mm.
what would be the first thing for the both of you that you would have to say against the bad representation that Howard has to the public?
I think people assume that they won't have a well-rounded experience at historically Black institutions just because, it's centered for African Americans. But I think that's the beauty of it. You are at a place that caters towards you as a person. They know your background. It doesn't matter like where you're from. You will find commonality. You will not be lost. You will have connections to your roots as a Black person. I think people discredit how diverse African Americans are. We have international students that go to Howard that come straight from India, Nigeria, China, from all over the world. So, not just towards Howard, but all HBCUs. I think people assume the experience will not be diverse, but it is. It is very, very diverse.
Beautifully said. Thank you.
Hmm.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of
and I definitely have to second that. And then also to the point of there's a lot of things where people say if you go to a HBC, you won't make it into like the big fields, like corporate, these big offices or big law schools, which is very not true. One of my friends just got accepted into Yale Law School. And so I would usually have to say, you never know until you experience it. You can't speak on something that you have no personal knowledge about. Of course, we always like HBC students will always talk about their schools, such as financial aid, professors. That's the normal talk. But it should never discourage anybody from attending a HBCU, especially other Black students, because you never feel alone attending a HBCU. You're surrounded by Black people and just us all day, every day. And so, yeah, honestly, we ignore the haters because at the end of the day, current Vice President Kamala Harris is the VP and attended Howard University.
Exactly.
I
So
can
we're
name
doing something right. We're doing something
right.
right.
We're doing something right.
You know, we have a lot of incoming freshmen, and quite a few of them listening now. What advice would you share with some of them as they start this journey?
Take a leap of faith. And I say that based on my freshman experience. And even though I'm currently a senior, The best advice that was given to me by my current mentor, who's graduating from Howard this spring, was you'd rather have more no's than regrets. And what I mean by that is if you don't take the opportunity, and yes, you will get no's in college, no's from scholarships, no's from internship applications. But if you don't try, you'll have more regret saying, I should have went for that opportunity. I should have applied for that internship. And go into your senior year and you're looking around like, what did I really accomplish? You only have 4 years. It's already my senior year. I'm going into my senior year. I just graduated in 2018 from Santa Lucia's, and it's over just like that. And especially during this pandemic taught me and my classmates a lot that time flies and you have to make the most of the opportunity.
Brianna?
Freshman year advice is to, the friends that you meet freshman year could potentially be lifelong friends. So be open to meeting new people. Even if you go to a college where there are people that you knew from back home or from high school, be open to meeting new people because you never know who you'll meet who will be a lifelong friend.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, Mr. Siron, it seems like your sound went out. Neil,
Again. Okay, am I back?
All right, perfect.
Okay. What makes Howard University so special, and why are you so proud to be a Bison? What is it that really, stands out?
I knew that I wanted to attend Howard University. Funny enough, when we were on a college tour for my older brother, I was in about 8th grade at the time, and we were walking around campus, and I was just in awe of being in a place where there were, again, Black people everywhere. I think just the safety I felt from looking around and knowing that I was just surrounded by my own community was amazing. It's not something you get to experience once you're out in the real world. So having that selective experience throughout undergrad when you're making a lot of transitions in your early adulthood life was just very reaffirming. It's just reaffirming that there were so many intelligent Black people around me every day that were, making me smarter, making me stronger. And Howard being in DC and being so connected to the way the world and this country operates, being so close to the White House is a very, very unique experience that you can't really get anywhere else. So forever proud to be a Bison because I had a phenomenal experience, but it's not for everyone. I suggest people visit if they are able to see if the DC city life is for you because that is also a transition as well. But Howard as a community is forever. Even as an alum now, I'm still connected with so many people, and my connections have tripled since being an alum. So it's just a lifelong connection to so many intelligent and prominent Black people.
Very well said. Very well said. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for your support, and thank you for sharing those gems with us.
Yeah.
Look, we're going to do this again later in the fall sometime, and hope that we can count on you guys to come back and share some more with us. How about
Of
that?
course.
Of course.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
again.
us.
You're quite
Thanks
welcome.
again. Take care. So we are in that phase of our lives right now where the vaccine is being fully administered to those of the public. If you are not one of those, unfortunately, who have not yet gotten your vaccination, don't worry. Nurses from the healthcare district will be giving Pfizer vaccines tomorrow at Pompey Park in Delray from 9 to 3. No appointment needed.
And Daryl, since you said that, I just got an email here asking, can we put this out? They'll also be at Mount Olive Baptist Church, 40 Northwest 4th Avenue in Delray Beach on a first come, first serve basis tomorrow from 9 a.m., as well as St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church at 46 Southwest 10th Avenue, also in Delray at 9 a.m. So you'll have 3 shots tomorrow, or 3 places to get your shots tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay, 1 year ago, we launched this forum to address some of the challenges that our young people were facing. Since then, we have somewhat morphed into this program, uh, which has become a staple in many homes on Friday night. We're sharing with folks earlier that we started with Skype, then we went on to WebEx, and from WebEx we went to StreamYard, and now we're on Boca Raton TV. Quite grateful for that. But we're always looking for ways to get out the good news about the work that KOP Mentoring Network is doing in the community, in the lives of our young people. If you're listening and you have an interest in a career in broadcasting, and I'm so glad that Ms. Thomas was on. She is a broadcast major now, and she'll be back, I'm sure, to speak to some of you uh, with an interest in broadcasting later on. But if you have an interest in broadcast or mass media or journalism, we need to hear from you. We have an internship that can prepare you for the real world. When you look at our very own Dina, you look at better yet, Daryl, tells you what we can do. Okay, and who knows? Maybe, just maybe, you could be like another young man whom we're so proud to call a product of KOP. Please direct your attention to the screen. Okay, while Neil does that, we will go ahead, Daryl, give the welcome.
Sorry about that. Warm welcome to our friends who are joining us on KOP Venture Networks or Boca Raton Tribune's Facebook pages or on YouTube. We know that you're listening, we get your texts and emails, and we thank you for giving us your input and continuing to view us on another day. As usual, shout out to our friends in the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Jamaica, Japan, Tobago, and the US Virgin Islands. Please remember
Let's not forget now, Daryl. We've just found out we have folks listening in St. Vincent.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me, Sarah, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you guys for joining us on another broadcast. Please remember to share community conversation on your social media pages. If you've missed the show, you can find it on Boca Raton Tribune or KOP Mentor Networks Facebook pages for more information. Thank you.
Yes, and let's get back to Neil. Okay, let's go to our friend, Mr. Maxwell. Well, here at KOP Mentoring Network, we believe that leadership training prepares youth to manage their time, work in a team setting, set goals, start conversations, facilitate meetings, and make effective presentations, all of which are positive life skills that they will carry into adulthood. Please direct your attention to our friend, Mr. John Maxwell, for our Leadership Minute.
I'm asked a lot of questions about creativity since I write books and then I'm kind of a creative person. My name is John Maxwell. Welcome to Minute with Maxwell, and I want to talk to you about how to be creative. Now, what's interesting is I'm creative in communication, in writing, and in speaking. My wife is not at all creative in those areas, but she's an artist. She's a painter. She's very creative in the arts area. So when I talk about creativity, obviously there are different lanes of creativity, and the one that I'm going to talk about is the one I know. It's the world that I live in. But when people say, John, what's the key to creativity? I think my answer always surprises them. See, I think they're looking for answers like, well, it's the ability to see things others can't see, the ability to do things that others can't do. I think they're looking for something a little ethereal and a little bit high. And to be honest with you, I don't think that's the main characteristic of a creative person at all. I think the main characteristic of a creative person is very simple. They believe that there's always an answer. And it's that causes them to create. It's the hope, it's the belief that they can do something that makes a difference. You see, if I don't think there's an answer, there's not going to be much creativity to me. I'm not going to work hard. I'm not going to be persistent. I'm not going to stay with it. I'm going to basically say, well, that's kind of a dead end street. I'm going to let that one go. But the moment that I believe that there's always an answer, and to be honest with you, in creativity, I believe there's more than one answer. So there's not always a way, there's usually several ways for me to accomplish what I want to. And the moment that I believe that, what does that do? Believing there's always an answer creates anticipation. And anticipation is the self-discipline of a creative person. I hope you got that. Anticipation is the self-discipline of a creative person. Why do they keep painting? Why do they keep writing? Why do they keep speaking? Why do they do these things? Because they anticipate something good is going to happen. When I go to my desk early in the morning, and I mean early in the morning, sometimes 4:30, 5 o'clock, I slip on my robe. And by the time I get to my office and sit down at my desk, look at my legal pad and my 4-color pen, I am filled with anticipation. I'm about to write. And I'm going to put some things on paper that I've never thought of before. I'm going to put some things on paper that are going to help people. And I can hardly wait to let it flow. Now, it doesn't always flow well. There are times when I have writer's blocks. There are times when I throw more paper away than I keep. Of course, but by and large, generally speaking, there's a sense of anticipation. There's always an answer. There's more than one answer. I'm going to be able to help people. And it's that which causes me to get up early and write. You see, if you're creative, you really believe that what you're doing is going to make a difference. And that's what motivates you to find a way. Creative people always find a way. They never get stuck because they never assume that's where they should be. If they're stuck, it's got to be for a moment before they move on. If they're in a traffic jam, they're holding just for a period of time, then they're moving on because they're always going somewhere. They're always anticipating something good's going to happen. So you want to be creative? 2 things. Find your strength. You can only be creative and intuitive in the area of your strengths, not your weaknesses. And number 2, create a sense of anticipation that what you do is going to make a difference. When you do those 2 things, guess what? They'll be asking you questions like they do me about creativity. John Maxwell here. Glad you were with me on Minute with Maxwell.
All right. Well, thank you, John. Well, folks, that news was so hot a while ago that Neil dropped it. But now that he has retrieved it, take it away, Neil. Yes, it's still sizzling, huh? All right, here we go. For the past 4 years, Delray Beach residents kicked off their Wednesdays with their own version of Good Morning America, aptly titled Delray Morning Live. Now, this 30-minute segment on Facebook gives viewers a slice of what's happening around the city, and it allows merchants and the business community a chance to promote their business. Well, this week there was a change of the guard when our very own Jamel Stewart joined Amanda Perna as co-host. Mr. Stewart wanted to be with us tonight, but since he is the head football coach at Atlantic High School, he has a game tonight, Friday night, obviously. But I was able to grab him for a quick minute to say a few words to you. Coach, it's so great to have you with us. How's it going?
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. You know, thank you.
Congratulations on the new gig, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
How was the first show?
Oh man, it was full of, like, you know, butterflies. It was almost as I was preparing for a football game. It reminded me of college. You know, you get those butterflies and you get that tickly feeling. Even though, you know, it was a live broadcast and you're sitting in a room with 10 people, you know that there's many eyes out there watching it. So it felt like I was walking into a stadium of like 30,000 people and all eyes are on me, you know. So it was nerve-wracking, but it was exciting at the same time.
Good, good. Now tell us about Delray Morning Live. What's the format now? What is this like?
So Delray Morning Live is a show basically to talk about all the great things that's happening in Delray Beach as a whole. To talk about the good events, to highlight businesses, to highlight community personnel, community leaders, also even to highlight some of our youth in the community. That's something, a lot of those things probably didn't happen in the past. Those are some of the things that we're going to be doing going forward, to have some of our youth and our community leaders also on the show, even to highlight talented individuals and hidden talent that we have here in Delray Beach, to highlight those individuals as well. So,
okay. You are a role model and highly respected in our community, Coach, and you have a broad appeal. What are your plans for expanding your viewing audience moving forward?
Well, the biggest thing, I think the show was limited with Ryan Boylston. Ryan did an awesome job starting, but I think his role as a commissioner, it was a lot of things he really couldn't do because it was borderline either unethical as a commissioner. He really couldn't tap into. And I think a lot of people wanted to see a commissioner as, just cookie cutter. He had to be straight, couldn't really be crazy, funny. So I think that's where I come into play, is just more of like, now I can come in and bring some more excitement, a different type of excitement, do some crazy, funny things on the show, make it a little more entertaining, and, just take it to the new heights, not just having our show being filmed at one location. We want to bring the show out to different parts of Delray Beach and show all areas of Delray. And Amanda Perna is almost a great co-host because she has the same vision, and she's the same quirky, weird, very outgoing
Yes, she
personality like myself. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun doing that.
It's a little bit of Good Morning America and some Jimmy Kimmel Live, huh?
There you go. That's exactly how we described it behind the scenes. What you saying that you probably was sitting in a meeting with us and heard us say, look, it's like a nighttime TV show, a live show, along with a Good Morning show as well. So definitely.
Now, if we want to see the show, how can we see? What time does it come on, and where can we see it?
So on Facebook, there's a Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce. They have a Facebook page. You can go to Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce, or the Delray Morning Live Show has its own Facebook page as well. Every Wednesday at 8:30. Every Wednesday at 8:30 till about 9 o'clock, the show is on. Every Wednesday we'll be there, and we'll be showing some great things. I'm very excited about what we have coming up. Next week, we have some local talent here from Delray that's going to be on the show. A lot of people know him, a lot of people don't, but that's one of the reasons why we want to bring him onto the show. Young African-American singer from Delray has his own live band. They're going to play for a lot of people. I'm excited about that. So 8:30 every Wednesday, we're going live.
You mentioned that. I want to offer you the opportunity here on Community Conversation. If you want to promo your shows, you're welcome to come on, man. You have a minute or 2 minutes every week to just promo. We can do this in advance, and we can promo your guests the following week. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's awesome. I look forward to that. I really appreciate that. Now,
you are you're the head football coach at Atlantic High School. How is that going so far?
Man, it's lovely. With Coach TJ Jackson, who's really a legend here as a football coach, and what he's done for young men in the community, and to actually be able to have this opportunity to walk into that role, thanks to the administration at Atlantic High School with the wonderful principal over there, Ms. Ocampo, to trust me to mold these young men and keep this legacy going at Atlantic High School is humbling. And not only will I told myself I can't let the community down. I won't let her down. I won't let the kids down. So my goal, the biggest thing that I'm looking at is the academics and helping shape these young men outside of football. Football is the vehicle we're going to use to really get them in college. However, there's a lot of things that we have to do behind the scenes to help them grow. A lot of these kids come from challenging backgrounds. They have a lot of stories. I mean, they have a lot of obstacles, and we're there to help them get over these obstacles and help them overcome those things.
What's your vision for the program next school year?
So next school, guy on ESPN asked me the other day. He was like, "How do you define success with your program?" And I told him the two ways. I won't define success as the wins or scoring points on the football field. I want to score points in the classroom. I want my kids. I told them in my parent meeting, everybody should have over a 2.5 GPA. That's my goal. So one of the changes I made is every day we have from 3 to 4, we have study hall. I took away an hour of football practice just to dedicate it to study hall. Every kid is mandatory that they come to study hall every day after school from 3 to 4, and then we'll go out on the field. If they don't come to study hall, they won't be able to practice. They won't be a part of this team. That's one thing. And then the second part is getting these kids into college. So their goals and their dreams are to play college football. And my goal is to help them achieve those. So put them in the format, put them on the forefront so colleges can recruit them, giving them that platform. But I have to make sure that also that we're giving them those tools and resources to make sure that they're doing everything they're supposed to academically.
You know, Coach, you wear many, many hats around town. So many, too many for me to even get into. But what motivates you, man?
What keeps me going is just, dude, it almost brings tears sometimes when you ask that question. But I think it's the youth. It was just seeing how I was brought up, and I had so many people around me push me. Coming up, even being part of the KOP program under your mentoring and the things that you provided to us as youth, as me being in 4th and 5th grade. But Delray has something that a lot of areas don't have, and it was just that we had the community type feel. My mom worked 2 or 3 jobs, but I had my aunts, my sisters was there, so it was a lot of people around us that gave us the outlet. And all of the kids don't have that. So my thing is that I was put into, I had opportunities that other people didn't have. I was brought up in the same situation, but I had different opportunities. I was put in the forefront with people around me that really cared and pushed me. So my thing is that I was given that. So my job is to give that back to others. And I don't think I can live my life fully if I don't do that.
As you said, you're a proud product of KOP Mentoring Network. And on this, our 30th anniversary, we're just proud to call you one of our finest sons. Now, talk to me about how important is mentoring?
Mentoring is very important. And, that's the approach that I'm taking to a lot of these young men. There was a workshop that came to Delray, and it was, I got to get restorative justice. It was a restorative justice workshop, and it really put things into limelight for me. Looking at how we attack certain situations that come to our youth. We have kids that are getting kicked out of school, kids that are not coming to school, kids that are doing bad things in the community. And we try to put a Band-Aid over a gun wound a lot of times. But a lot of times we got to get down to the crux of the matter and get down to the root of the issue so we can help that kid to find out, why is this child not coming to school? I found out the other day we had a kid that missed a whole week. And the first thing, some people say, you need to kick him off the football team. And I went to the house and I figured out the reason why this kid's not coming to school, he has a younger brother that he has to take care of that's sick, that can't go to school. So he has to be home. The mom has to work.
Did you see my text?
So it's little things like that. So without having my mentor hat on, so now I can help this kid find resources so that he or she, they don't miss school. And now we can get the mom the help that she needs, with the younger kid that's sick. But it's little things like that. A lot of these kids don't have male role models in their lives. Growing up, a lot of these kids look at the drug dealers, they look at the fancy cars, they look at fast money, but we have to be there to guide them into the right way, because fast money only brings negative results to me. So we have to be there to guide them in the right way and say, look, their life is not all about a sprint, it's a marathon. And you run this marathon right, you will reap the rewards at the end.
There you go.
And that's what I'm trying to get over to a lot of these young men and get them out of the negative light, keep them off the streets and keep them running this marathon and not this sprint.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from our very own coach, Jamel Stewart. Best wishes tonight, Coach. Who are you playing tonight?
So tonight we have Dwyer High School, William T. Dwyer High School up at Dwyer High. So kickoffs is at 6, man. We're really excited about it. I know the young men, they've been working hard for us. So we're going to go out and have a nice one, and hopefully we bring a win back to Delray Beach.
Good luck. And like I say, you always have a platform here on Community Conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Jamel Stewart. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Mr. C-Ron. Appreciate it.
Heard it here. Tonight's program is produced by Jonaldina Bazu, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, graduating senior at Atlantic Community High School and soon to be member of the Millbury College class of 2025. As usual, the genius behind those photos and videos that you're seeing tonight is our illustrious cinematographer, Neil Sunsky, Neil Noel, a proud product of KOP Mentor Network and the Village Academy. Our social media intern is Jasmine Collins, a sophomore at Florida State University. Check out our social media pages to see more of Jasmine's fine work. You're muted, Mr. C-Ron. Neil, let's see.
I thought Neil could do that. Anyway, that looks like Mikey. Don't tell me Mikey's here with Mikey finally showed up. Mikey!
Hi, Mikey.
Hi.
You're kind of late there, girl.
Yeah, I had something for school, a show for drama.
You had
the school drama club.
So, what? You guys don't have Wi-Fi at school? Your system low? What's
The Wi-Fi is slow here, and it's really hard to
Palm
connect
Beach
to it.
County School District? Expected. That's expected. Well, guess what? We had two ladies, two Bisons were on earlier, shared some great advice for you and other freshmen considering going to Harvard. I mean, not Harvard, Howard. And you can always go back and check it out on the Facebook pages. But did you have any question for them that maybe Daryl can answer?
I had a few questions.
All right. Well, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do.
I
Listen
wanted
to Mikey. Listen to the. Well, by the way, go. What's your first question? Let me see.
I wanted to ask them what type of advice do they have for incoming freshmen?
Okay. They, in fact, listen to the tape, and you'll get that. They have that and more. Okay. So you make sure you listen to the tape, and if you have any questions after that, you let Daryl know, and we'll make sure you get answers to it. How about that? Great seeing you again, Mikey, and hopefully you come back and join us next week. How about that? All right. Well, folks, it's that time when we hear from the man himself, the NCCU magnet, Mr. John. Mr. John himself. What's happening, brother?
Everything's going well. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good. Before John, let me just give a shout out to Janiyah, to Marshall, to Dwight, to Mike, and Ella, who got their first vaccine this week, and they're waiting their second dose.
Okay.
Yeah, not sure how long they're gonna have to wait before they get the second dose, but
depends if they got Moderna. I think it's 4 weeks.
Okay.
Because I actually just got my second shot last Monday, so not this past Monday, but the Monday before.
Got you. And how was it? Were your arms sore?
I got in my left arm. It was my arm was sore for a little bit, and had some side effects the next day, but I think it was worth it. So.
Okay. And shout out to Wizard Mari. Great seeing you, Shamari. Can't wait to have you join the team here. Well, Brother John, let's talk about something that's on the mind of everybody these days. Well, at least it was on their minds last night. The draft.
Yeah,
well, there wasn't
the draft.
Yes. There wasn't much of a mystery for the first two selections because we knew, Jacksonville and the Jets that, they were going to take Lawrence, and we knew the Jets were going to snag Wilson. But were there any surprises, anything worth telling us about?
Uh, they actually did a lot of wide receiver quarterback combos, and
Hmm.
so they picked a lot of teammates. So the Jaguars, they picked Trevor Lawrence, and then they picked the running back Etienne,
Right, right.
and then you had Tua, who's the quarterback for the Dolphins, and then the Dolphins selected Waddle, who was the
Waddle.
receiver for Jalen Waddle. As a Cowboys fan, man, I was thinking we were going to get J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain, but we ended up getting Micah Parsons. Can't complain about that. And yeah, I was a little surprised that the Packers ended up picking a defensive back, especially given the Aaron
Uh-huh.
Rodgers news and how he's not happy there, and then they went and picked a defensive player. So, all in all, not a whole lot of surprises. The quarterbacks went. I saw that
Right.
the Bears went and got Justin Fields. So it was I thought it was a pretty predictable and good night for the first night of the draft.
What do you expect tonight?
Oh, well, actually, that's what's in the background. I'm actually watching that as well. And so yeah, so it's rounds 2 and 3 tonight. So far, so it's been a lot of defensive players picked. Definitely some defensive backs, some wide receivers. So on the offensive side, so yeah, it's they're actually expecting someone from North Carolina Central University to get drafted,
Uh-huh.
either tonight or early in the 4th round. Brian Mills. So I'm always going to rep NCCU. So definitely hope he gets drafted.
Now, see, with the New England Patriots, they drafted Mac Jones.
They did.
Does,
They
what,
did.
what does that say about Cam Newton's job?
Oh man, is the pressure's on?
Yeah.
Especially Mac Jones kind of having those Tom Brady vibes. When he initially got drafted, kind of not the most athletic, not the biggest arm, not the strongest quarterback. So Mac Jones has those Tom Brady vibes back when Tom Brady was picked in the 6th round. So, yeah. But yeah, Cam Newton, man, it's just one of those things where if he has a bad outing, I don't think he's going. I think he'll start the season as a starter, but I think one bad outing, I think Mac Jones is going to take over from there.
Interesting you said that. Belichick last night said at the news conference, he said, "For now, Cam is our quarterback." You can read
Oh
between-
yeah, absolutely.
you read between the lines.
Yeah, for right now, Cam is the quarterback.
Speaking of Lawrence, I heard that he has already picked up endorsements from Gatorade, the crypto app Blockfolio, and I think it was Bose with Adidas. How, John? How do these endorsements work? And why do companies always go to these athletes and not Joe like me and you? Well, let me speak for myself. Average Johns like me, why don't they give us a piece of that pie? How does this work?
Man, and that's actually a good point. So currently, if everyone doesn't know, I work in college athletics, and so I know the state of Florida is passing a name, image, likeness bill that's going to allow college student athletes to start profiting off of their name, image, likeness beginning in July 1. And so it's these guys. And speaking of Trevor Lawrence in particular, he had a successful career at Clemson, and when they see him rocking a product, whether it's headphones or shoes or other clothes, people want to look like Trevor Lawrence. They want to look like Sunshine from Remember the Titans. So
Right.
That's who sells. If they have me and some Adidas, I doubt many of those shoes would sell. So I can't blame those companies for going with the guys that are getting drafted and the guys that they know should have a pretty good career in the NFL.
Well, I'll take a contract with ProKids right now. Bring it on. Well, let's talk about another topic that's just as serious and important, and one that we all can relate to. So, Mr. John and I have a challenge. We had a challenge about 3 weeks now to see who could raise the most money for two charities that are very near and dear to both of us. One
Absolutely.
we're focusing on one right now, which is Relay for Life. Now, folks, tomorrow is the deadline for that, and it appears that Mr. John is in the lead. Not sure why, but again, you folks, especially you who claim that in fact, all you folks from FAMU who claim you're going to support me over the last couple of weeks, you guys donated to Mr. John and not me, as I ask you. So,
And
John,
I can drop my link if everybody,
please.
if Neil would like to broadcast the link to the world, listen, I have it pulled up right now. You let
And
me know.
when you give me a minute, please. All I need is 30 seconds, 32 seconds. When you do, there's an area that says there's not a subject line, but there's an area you can just put your name and just put / for C. Ron Allen, and I get the credit. Is the link up? Okay, Neil, get the link up, please. And when you put it in, when you put your name, just put / C. Ron Allen, and I get the credit. Okay? Because John is killing me.
Man, that's what it's about, man. It's two are amazing causes. Neil, I just posted the Relay for Life. I just posted my March of Dimes. Two amazing initiatives that our fraternity is involved in, and yeah, let's keep it rocking and ensure that I beat Mr. C-Ron on that. So
yeah, John, tomorrow is a deadline, right? So
tomorrow's a deadline. They actually have an event, and I'm not the actual relay itself. And so I know last year it was virtual. I think they sent out the information. I think it is going to be in person this year. So they're sticking this out.
Speaking in person, Neil's telling me my time is up. But brother man, look, you have a great weekend, man, and you're gonna join us tomorrow morning at Pompey Park.
I'm gonna try to make it out there. I got a haircut at 1, but I'm gonna try to make it out there.
All right, bro. See you later, John.
All right.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
Moving forward, it's a story that many of you are quite familiar with. Corey Jones, a popular drummer, broke out on the I side of I-95 in Palm Beach Gardens while returning from a nightclub job at 3 a.m. one Sunday back in 2015. As he waited for a tow truck, a police officer showed up. Instead of getting a helping hand, all he got were bullets. Until this day, his family is still demanding answers of why their God-loving, God-fearing son and brother will be shot down by police. Tonight, we have the father of Corey, Mr. Clinton Jones, with us. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Let's get him up. Apologies, Pastor Jones. It's great to have you tonight with us. So let's just go off into it, if you will, please. How is your family coping these days, just over 5 years later? Pastor Jones, is the reception okay?
Pastor Jones, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Just to, it's good to have you with us. Just to repeat, how has your family been in the coping 5 years later after your son's death?
Can you repeat that again?
How is your family coping these days, just 5 years later after your son's passing?
Well, we're dealing with it one day at a time. It hadn't been easy, so we just deal with it with the love of our family members and the love of our church that keep us encouraged. So it's a one day at a time process.
So you brought up, the confinement that you found in your church. Has religion been a major source of strength for you in this whole process?
Yes, it have been. That's our backbone. That's what we lean on. Our faith in the Lord.
It was only 2 years ago that you sat in that courtroom. What was your response to the Derek Chauvin verdict?
Um, I I was somewhat happy for him, and thank God they got a conviction, and the pain of losing a loved one is not a easy thing. So we just continue to pray for him, and keep him up in prayer because this is going to be a lifetime journey.
Did you watch the trial?
I watched some of it. I couldn't just sit there and watch the whole trial. It was just too painful.
Definitely. I think, can you hear me right? Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. I think the most frustrating thing in the entire trial process, just to commune with you and the viewers out there, is that a lot of people think that this is a time where we settle and think that justice has been achieved. Firstly, I don't think that George Floyd should have been a martyr for society. This was an act, a heinous act on the hands of Derek Chauvin that we're seeing being a repeated feat in law enforcement from the abuse of power. And I think the most unfortunate thing is after having a police officer actually come down with us on last week's broadcast, is that the bad apples that are in the system are corrupting the view of the whole majority. And I think in such a difficult time where society and law enforcement should have a relationship of trust, especially with racial issues coming into play, that just can't present itself under any case. And going 5 years back into the passing of your son, we're seeing that this is a repeated issue after we've seen so many stories following before and after. So I just do have to appreciate you for coming on tonight with us, Pastor, in discussing the issues that go at hand with police brutality. So I just want to see how you are now in the entire process of it all. Do you believe that any source of justice has been achieved following the summer of last year with the entire process of racial movements?
Yeah, I believe that some justice have been served. He's in jail, and I thank God for that. And we won the appeal, and I thank God for that. So some justice have been we have some justice, so we're still dealing with it. So just have to be encouraged that we can learn from this, and we will continue to keep the beat alive for our son Corey, and keep his name before the peoples, and do things that he desired to do. That he was a professional drummer, so we want to continue to keep his name out there. And he was he was just a good kid. He loved people. He was a mentor. So we want to continue, to keep his name alive in the hearts of peoples.
Beautifully said. Thank you.
There have been several police-related shootings since Corey Jones' murder, and each time, I'm sure you had to relive October 18th, 2015. What impact has each shooting had on you?
Uh, I really don't, like to, kind of like get into it, but I noticed I will have to, kind of like talk about it and then express my feelings concerning shootings. And I'm somewhat angry because it seems like it's an ongoing pattern. Our black kids are getting killed by police officers. Seem like we're not learning anything uh, from this. So I hope that we will begin to start learning something from each incident and begin to start practicing how we can do things better. Um, Black people really don't have any problems with the police. The only thing we expect is respect. Respect us. Respect us as being black people. And don't take advantage of us. We don't have any problem with the law enforcement. We just want to be respected. And I hope that we will begin to start learning something from this and begin to start, understanding one another as a peoples and begin to love one another. And that's what it's all about, loving one another. If we can do that, we will have a better society.
Definitely. So I think one thing that we should get into is the recent passing of the National Police Reform Bill. Just to keep you informed, it's a long document that was just passed by Congress last year. And one such clause in the bill is oversight, which reads, I'll read it for you. Complaint procedures, including the establishment of civilian review boards or analogous procedures for jurisdictions across a range of sizes and agency configurations, complaint procedures by community-based organizations, early warning systems, and related intervention programs, video monitoring technology, data collection, transparency, and administrative due process requirements inherent to complaint procedures for members of the public and law enforcement. So basically, this is supposed to nip it in the bud if there's any issues that's seen in the office at hand from public complaints. And we've seen that in Derek Chauvin's case, many complaints were made that were oversighted or ignored and were brought into light by law enforcement that were sort of shielded by that blue wall that is notorious recently. So on the bill overall, how do you feel about it? Do you think that it will pave the way to address the issues in law enforcement?
I hope so. But my thing with that is that if a person is bad, he's bad. And I think we see the signs. And when we see the signs, we need to react. We need to do something about it. So we can pass all the laws, that we want to pass, but unless we act on them, they won't have any effect. So I'm praying that these will have effects, and then that we will put them in practice. And if we put them in practice, a lot of lives will be saved.
Definitely. Delina?
What message do you hope that Corey's death will send to the adolescents of society?
Oh man, Corey passing, and I hope that my son's life, his passing will have some type of legacy of he was a kind person, he was a giving person, and I pray that his life will save other lives, and that his dying will have not been in vain, that his name will still be mentioned, that they would not just forget about Corey. So that's part of my goal, and that's what I want to do. I want to continue to keep his name alive before the people.
Thank you for that, sir. I think as we approach or end for this, I think a time of reflection is needed. So, of course, 5 years later, my condolences to you. We are seeing more societal awareness in the issues of law enforcement, but in addressing the ones that trickle down the wayside, as you've mentioned for viewers tonight, there are still 3 officers that are awaiting conviction for their involvement in the murder of George Floyd. We have listed names: J. Alexander Cohen, for who the viewers' information does happen to be a biracial police officer, Thomas Lane, and Total, who face charges in the death of George Floyd. So there is naturally racial controversy in the background of this case, but putting it at base level, there needs to be accountability for these 3 officers. So for you, Pastor, I want to get your insight. Do you believe that for the purpose of this case, that they will be offered plea deals, or will they have to stand trial?
I hope that these 3 officers would be charged, because they had a responsibility to protect Mr. Floyd, and they just stand there and didn't do anything, and that was really hurting to me. I just can't understand it. I remember I had an incident in my life. Me and my wife, we was going taking a little trip, and they had an accident on the side of the road, and people was bleeding. There was blood everywhere, and we stopped, and I got out, and I began to start, getting peoples out of the water, start helping peoples, and not thinking about my life, but thinking about the lives of other people. So it's a hurting thing when we don't help one another, and we just let one another just die. It's hurtful and it's painful, and we need to reach out and love one another, regardless of what color you are, what color your skin. It doesn't matter. The only thing matter is this, that we love one another. So it's a hurting thing when we don't help one another and we just let one another die. It's sad. So I believe if we reach out to one another and continue to love one another, this world will be a better place for everyone to live in.
And that is one of the best takes we've had for tonight. Thank you for that, sir. Now, Delina, let's finish us off.
What do you think needs to be done to end systemic bias in policing?
Repeat that again.
What do you think needs to be done to end systemic bias in policing?
That's pretty heavy, and it just basically just like go right on. Like I said again, just respect one another, and because I don't look like you, you shouldn't be biased of me. You shouldn't, other words, look down on me because I'm not the same color you are. You may be taller than me, and I may be shorter than you. So it doesn't give you the right to disrespect me. So we just need to treat one another as we want to be treated, So if we do that, life will be a lot easier for everyone. We just can't separate ourselves from one another. It just can't be one race. It's many races, so we got to love everyone. So once we get over that, then we'll be a better person.
I agree. That will about do it for this week's edition of Community Conversation. We hope you learned something tonight that will make a significant impact on your life. This year, young people, there is no greater investment you can make on a Friday night than being with like-minded people on community conversation.
We thank Pastor Jones for coming on with us tonight, and thank you to all of our guests for participating to enlighten us, and a big sincere shout out to the Boca Raton Tribune for simulcasting us on Facebook and YouTube. A special thanks to our sponsors, Healthier Delroy Beach, Blanc New Look Barbershop, The Night Group, DNA Total Fitness, Jeff Stern CPA, Wellness Financial, Roots and Wings, Ezra Krieg, Marsha Eisenberg, and Doug Young.
Who is our featured guest next week?
Well, Delina, a group of 16 women across Palm Beach County have chronicled their life stories in a book called Sister to Sister. Great title. The ladies from the group, called the National Coalition of Black Women, share advice, guidance, and encouragement with each other. We will hear from 2 of those ladies with that privilege. This promises to be another interesting show.
After tonight's session, we leave you with this message.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it. But even more about the person who doesn't.
Very important message. Don't forget, from 9 to 3 tomorrow at Pompey Park, no cost, no appointment, free vaccines. Please take the opportunity and come with your mask. So getting into our little breakout story before we go off, the Josh story. Pause Your Game is a nonprofit organization that aims to kill shelters and give every homeless pet a loving home. We're putting the pets in the homes first before we get rid of the shelters, of course. Founded in 2020, they host community gaming events where participating gamers can fundraise one of their rescue organizations, and we'll go into that later times. So there's more slots that we can go into. So thank you, everyone, for coming on tonight, and take care and be safe. Have a great weekend.
Information. If it exists in writing,
There
we
are
print
still
it.
a few more spots
If it
available for KLP Mentoring Network. Again, that is 561-665-0151.
Right, sorry for that, folks. There was a bit of a misunderstanding. Okay, now officially, take care, be safe, get your vaccines, be responsible, and have a good one.
Information. If it exists in writing, we print it. If it exists online, we update it. If it exists on mobile, we notify. If it exists in video, we show it. If it exists in audio, we play it. In the past, the news had to wait for a paper to print for it to happen. Today, news happens in real time. It's analyzed, edited, and published immediately by us, your neighbors, and of course, you. Wherever you are, you write, edit, give opinions, share photos, and make the news happen. This is why a paper needs to be on print, on screen, and on your phone. Wherever you are, your news has its pulse in the community. The Boca Raton Tribune. We are much more than just a newspaper. We are your closest neighbor.